Welcome back to Our Better Angels. This is part four of case one. This is entitled Echoing. Last session, the group disappeared a house, saw into the infinite void, and changed the reality they exist in. Um, yeah, it was a good session, all in all. I think pretty fun, especially for Raymond Rebels upgrade. But yeah, I left it off as I left it off. I'm just going to allow you folks to kind of tell me where you want to be, what you want to do, what you're exploring in the town of Baiko, um, et cetera, et cetera.
I think we were meaning to meet at the village hall to look over records, or maybe that was just for the intellectuals over here.
That's a fair assessment. So yeah, absolutely a place we can start. I know that we have been splitting off into the quote unquote intellectuals and the quote unquote locals. Um, but if you want to change up the paradigm, I'm okay with that too. Like however you want to.
They can start there. I won't be showing up, so
Okay,
just a heads up.
got it. You do not want to go to the village hall.
Currently, I was doing what we said last week. I was going back and checking my records and my books. I found the two combs,
Right.
and then I will be showing up to see them in the appropriate time after it would take after I go through my ledgers.
Perfection. We'll go ahead and remember that as a point of order. So when it gets to that point, you're kind of moving up to the village hall. I'll notate it for the rest of the group. Raymond, you, I believe, went to the bar. I think.
Yeah.
There was that.
I'd say Raymond's probably just gonna wander around town and see if he can see if anything else has changed from his memory.
Um. So for you, a person who's lived in this town since childhood, it's the same, but there's something about it that's different. It's very hard to put your thumb on, right?
Mhm.
It's like it's summer. It's still hot as hell. All the buildings look exactly the same, so as far as you can tell. But there's always this like one little detail that you think is wrong and have to kind of scrutinize, but it doesn't. You're not sure because you didn't take like photographic kind of detailed like thought on
Yeah,
the sidewall of the books building.
yeah. I'd say Raymond would just kind of wander around, saying hi to people and stuff, just until he felt like everybody was gonna be there at the town hall. Because he's not really smart, so he's not gonna just show up there and be like, "I know what I'm talking about,"
Right.
because he doesn't.
I,
So
w- I would say that your normal like day to day of going into town and being friendly with everybody seems to be catching people off guard. Like maybe that's not something that you normally do, and you're kind of getting a weird vibe from people where you would normally kind of get like a smile, like a nod or a short conversation about this or that going on in the town. Everyone seems to be very kind of finalized, kind of hi, and then moving on. Some people who you know don't even seem to know you or act like they do.
Yuck cursed.
Uh, yeah, he's definitely like, it's probably noticeable to the people, but it'd be definitely noticeable to the party. He's definitely constantly rubbing that pinky ring. He's hoping it's good luck.
Okay.
And yeah, I'll just after all that's done, I'll make my way at some point to the town hall.
And then for the three intellectuals,
Yep. So
I'm one of
if
the intellectuals.
well, I don't know about that, but
money and individuals can be whatever
you
they
could
want.
always
Fairly
you could
sure.
buy a degree. You know how that works.
I mean, there's definitely people who say that they're intellectuals who have a lot of money and aren't really smart. So, like,
If, John, out of character, if I remember correctly, we'd already been to the town hall and we'd done some research. We found out that Gowden lived on 3 Kelvin Lane, left in 1903 to Arkham,
mm-hmm.
and then
Argo spelled with an H.
Arkham spelled with an H, right? Something about Henry Kelvin, is that right? Or Henry Gauch? Henry Gauch?
No. So,
I have the name Gauch. House at the end of Kelvin Estate near the rooming house.
it's the bar.
That's the bar.
Yep.
Oh, the Gauche is the bar?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't recall Gauche being a name of somebody,
Yeah,
but
it's
it
the bar.
was Kelvin is the one that owns the string of houses, I think.
Correct. And
Yes.
a Kelvin.
And he was the one that fake Adam told me was the mayor.
Right. And
Right.
Henry Kelvin works at the Gouge.
Okay, he works at the Gauche. Okay.
Yeah.
And he has a house at the end of the Kelvin Estates.
Correct, because he lives with the main household. This would be the Kelvin estate. And then this is Kelvin Lane. Did you get those pings?
Right. Yeah.
Yep, bam and bam. And then the bar is this longhouse. Okay. So cool. You got that information. You would see that Raymond's kind of heading over in this general direction. Are you, after kind of completing your information, wanting to wait for the others? Or is there any other questions or things that you want to search while you're here?
Um. Did we look at the newspaper clipping, Chandler?
A little bit. I don't think anything like major, because our last major incident was basically arguing about if there was an H in Arkham.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that kind of cut it short because we looked at the newspaper clipping and it showed the H for Arkham, and you were very excited that it spelled it correctly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I was very distraught it spelled it wrong. So
Right.
I think that's where our newspaper clipping stopped before it got cut to another group.
Mm. And then, Zach, you wanted to stay in Biko because what other stuff did you want us to do here in terms of investigating?
I thought you guys would be interested in checking out the Godin house.
Mm-hmm.
I think was on the Kelvin Estates.
Yeah, 3 Kelvin Lane.
line.
Yep.
And
I guess this Gauche bar itself, maybe, where Henry Kelvin works, maybe? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, as far as Henry is aware, the lion's share of the collection that we're all looking for, or at least you and I are looking for, is in Biko.
Right. Okay.
Now, if I was invited to the library,
Yeah,
Sure.
well, so
as I thought I was,
I
mean,
wanna
you
say-
would not have been.
I think everybody was going to show up there and kind of meet up there. That was the plan.
Yeah.
I do remember that Henry Fitzgerald would have stopped by.
I
The
turned
mayor's
down
house.
dinner with the mayor.
Right. And you did stop in to kind of clean yourself up and also kind of just, put some stuff away. I was going to ask, did you put the stainless steel mirror, the house mirror, so to speak? Did you put any of the other relics or artifacts that you have on your person with the mirror that you have in your room?
No, I'll keep the hand mirror I purchased from Bianca on my person,
Okay.
and the standing mirror can stay in the room.
Of course, you're not going to lug that around.
Yeah.
So then you could make your way to the village hall. You would see Raymond about the same time you're moving over that way, kind of moving over to it in his new dapper clothes.
Young rebels, how are you enjoying your newfound prosperity, son?
It is amazing. Although I don't know if it's the clothes or if it's just something that happened when everything changed. But a lot of people are acting differently.
Well, in the blink of an eye, son, you became a man of means. It's hard to say what that means to other people. They
Fair
don't
enough.
always love it, but that's how it is.
Fair enough.
Just don't.
Oh boy, this guy.
In 1920s parlance, you have no fucking time for the haters. Flex that shit. Anyway, if you two go in, you'll be directed by the guy. I can't remember the C word that I used.
Curator.
Curator. Yes.
Would use the C word drop.
Yeah, I know, we're on Twitch. We can't use the C word.
C word.
Got this C word working in here.
Curator will take you back to where you'll find Otmar and Arthur.
Ugh. Afternoon, gents. We're kind of middle afternoon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it later?
It's getting closer to supper time.
Okay. What did we learn?
Otmar would just look over and say very matter-of-factly, I don't think we belong here. And then look over at Arthur and then rephrase it as, I don't think all of us belong here.
I'm not going back.
I'm not, you can't convince me.
For some reason,
I'll kill my other self and stay here.
For some reason, he just has a mimosa in his hand. He's just like, I'm not going back.
I handed him my spare.
Oh, I just pulled this out of my jacket. Here you go.
I just have a shaker in my vest pocket.
I just picture Malachi just standing there with a shaker, like, ready.
Yeah,
It's
Malachi's
like
got the
early
shotgun
afternoon
pocket
drinking.
in the
Yeah.
coat. And instead, it's filled with mimosas right now.
No, see, that's on the other side. That's the mimosa pocket.
Mimosa pocket,
specifically.
shotgun pocket. Got it. I
Yeah.
understand now. I'm sorry. I'm a poor person. I don't.
I'm learning quick.
But I would look to Arthur to further explain why I would single him out, at least against me.
Yeah, something very strange is happening here. I mean, we've all seen kind of unexplainable stuff in the mirrors, like ourselves, our reflections, but then reflections of other selves. Are you suggesting, Otmar, that you're an other self?
Actually, I'm suggesting the opposite.
Oh, that I'm another
you
self.
are,
Oh.
that you did not belong where we came from. If what we're looking into is right, and you're saying that all your life, as someone who is academically inclined as you are, has spelled a city that you lived in wrong, but
That
you have
seems
always
unlikely.
been convinced, always, but everyone else wasn't, and now all of a sudden you're right. Do you think the little town of Biko or Biko is going to be where you're proven right all of a sudden without anything else going wrong?
It is Biko, by the way.
Biko. Thank you, Raymond. Just swirls his drink.
He owns this fucking town.
Sorry, I'm
Now-
just correcting something in the chat real quick. Somebody thought that Biko was a little too close to a player character who died on Tuesday in a different reality.
Well, whether you're right or I'm right, maybe it doesn't matter so much as what caused all this, and maybe is there a way to fix it? We know that there's some strange stuff happening too. Is Bianca with us?
Not yet.
Okay.
You have business to attend to.
Do me a favor, Chandler. Just say a couple things real quick. Just want to test levels.
I was going to say that I think one of the first order of business going out of this library would be for Arthur to call the Arkham, the university that he works at. One, to make sure he still works there, and two, to see if anything has been odd or misplaced or changed for him.
Sure. So, if you want, you can try and make a phone call to Arkham. It being as late as it is, it's highly unlikely that you're able to get a hold of front desk staff. Like I said, it's close to supper time, so we're looking at around 5-ish, and the typical work cycle in era and in time would be 9 to 5. So,
Nah.
This seems a crucial question. I mean, I could take a quick drive back there and find out and report back to you. Doesn't take very long at all.
Yeah, I feel like this is a crucial point in knowing how much has changed.
I would argue
Yeah.
just as a heads up, I would argue that it is a long enough drive, being about an hour, for those who drive a la Arthur Haynes, safely and not
Yeah,
psychopathically.
sure,
It would
sure.
be a long enough drive in the daylight that you would feel that it would be kind of the last thing you do for the day. But keep in mind, you'll be doing most of that drive during twilight and dark, and you're not driving on perfectly paved asphalt roads.
All right, so if I have to make a drive roll, that's a bad idea.
If you're going to make a drive, it's not going to be a drive roll. It'll just take time. What I'm meaning to
Oh,
say
okay.
is you're not going to drive to Arkham and then just turn
And
around
then
and come
drive back.
back.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. I would stay to the morning
Right.
and then come back in the morning.
But do you want to do that by yourself, and then presumably research with leaving everybody here in Byko?
I mean, like Otmar said, this is a kind of a crucial question. So we could all go. I can go myself, or one other person can go with me. If we don't think it's a crucial question, we could save it for and investigate other things in town.
As you're kind of negotiating that process, I'm going to kind of detail a little in-between bit here and then kind of insert a point that I mentioned as a point of order earlier. So, Bianca, you did the research that you did. You kind of gather your stuff up, you wrap the combs. You keep those with you.
I would put them because they're weird looking. You said it did look like the carvings of him. It was able. I couldn't recognize it. So,
They also mentioned the set in your presence, so you would know that there's a missing set of combs that's supposed to go with the hand mirror, a standing mirror you haven't seen, the vanity you saw in Raymond's house, and I forget the last piece, jewelry chest,
Yeah.
something like that.
I would pocket them away. I would wrap them up, like I said,
Into the
kind of
pocket.
being like him and into the pocket. Yeah.
If you exit out into town,
I would have my ledgers with me.
So normally
The more generic one, the one that doesn't have the secrets and stuff in it.
Fair enough. Normally in town, you kind of fit in, right? Your normal experience with Byko has been accepting. It seems like they're a bit more lenient when it comes to the ideas of hedonism, right? They serve alcohol in a bar that's not legal. They allow for prostitution, also not legal. There's a lot of things that happen in the town that you're aware of that are not exactly goodly in the eyes of your stereotypical 1920s Christian person. And you've never had a problem with anybody in town, but it seems like while you're walking around town, a lot of folks are definitely like giving you a wider berth than you would anticipate, or absolutely just avoiding you, like obviously avoiding you.
I would try to say pleasantries, but
Sure.
also as she is hard, she'd kind of be like, what's your side eye for?"
Right. So there's some people that have communicated with, and their responses are terse, quick, and they kind of hurry along away from you. Very strange, to be sure. Not normal, but you don't know the root cause of why that's the case. You make your way to the village hall, and you enter in. The curator kind of leads you towards the back, and he says, I don't know exactly how to broach it to these gentlemen, but can you let them know that we'll be closing up soon? We're well past the hour for closing time, and I just want to make sure everything is locked up before. But of course, I want to extend every nicety I can to Mr. Fitzgerald and the representatives from the college.
Of course, son. You look like you've seen a ghost. Whatever is the matter?
He's talking to Bianca outside. He hasn't led you in.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Not you, me.
Well, he said apologize to the gentleman.
This is my time.
Yeah, he's
once
asking-
I thought he was talking. I thought he was addressing us inside.
He's asking Bianca to be the bearer of bad news that you have to get the fuck out of here. He doesn't want to do it.
I'm guessing I know his name.
We'll just call him the curator for now. Yeah, I don't think I gave him
Call
a
him
name.
Jim.
Jim's it. He's Jim
Jim,
now.
you tell Helen I said, hey, I'll make sure to get the boys out of here as soon as I can, sir, and you have an amazing evening. Helen's his wife.
Yeah. And he
Or at least she is in the other world.
he kind of has a confused look for a minute, but he doesn't seem to address anything you say, and kind of, it's almost like Um, it's almost like the soul just drained out of him, right? Like he just kind of looks very confused and kind of turns and walks away without saying anything. You head inside.
I look at him strangely and okay as he walks away, and I go inside. I say, gentlemen, there's a lot going on here, because all of us are here, right?
Yep.
I come in and I put my books down and I look at Brent. I keep forgetting your guy's name.
Raymond.
Raymond, how many times have you come see the girls last month?
At least 4.
Yeah, I have it as 14 in my books. Something's different here, and
You
I don't
dog.
understand. And people are looking at me funny, so I'm wondering
Yeah,
what's going
they
on.
looked at me weird too. Like I said hi to people, and they were all kind of like, just like, okay, not like chatty as normal.
Well, I think it's just more than your finances that have changed.
Do you think
Fair
this
enough.
has anything related to what you saw about that window in that house, Bianca?
I
Give
think
her a
that's
sec.
probably part of it.
Ask that question again, Andy. I think.
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
Chris,
I had-
It's okay.
no problem.
You're fine, man.
Bianca, is this like related to what you saw on the side of the house with the window and the?
I think so. That seems to be where it stemmed from it. I mean, that or you boys, but again, I'm hoping it's more that than you boys. Otherwise, I'd be worried about trusting you, as she kind of looks untrustingly.
Professor
But
Otmar here has an interesting theory. Do you want to share it?
Oh, Professor
Yeah.
Otmar.
Yeah, I am educated, quite educated, and part of the college. Yeah, so, but I would look over and say, I feel like we're in a different place. Not as in Baiko is different or any of that nature, as in a different reality. I know that is hard to understand and or take in, but it's one of those things that I do not think we all belong here. But I don't think all of us don't belong here either. Um,
she would kind of look at you funny, and like because she's used to people talking down to her, but she's like, "That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why the notes are different. That's why the ledgers are different. That's why people are talking to us different." She's trying to fight for herself back because she's very used to people talking down to her, and she's actually really smart. So she's like, "That's what I'm saying."
Love that.
So,
and I
any chance
wouldn't.
I own a library in this one? Because we didn't search the house.
No, we didn't.
Well, speaking of the house, I went through my stuff. I went through um, my belongings, and there seems to be some differences as well. And as we are putting out the hand of trust at the olive branch here, I'm going to show you these that I found these for some reason in this new house of mine. And I unroll the combs. I put it. I believe you mentioned these before.
So the combs that are unveiled for you appear to be a part of the set that Arthur has identified. The
Nice.
set in question is a standing mirror, a vanity, as yet unseen jewelry box, a hand mirror, and a set of combs for the hair. Basically, like you put them in kind of cool looking designs. Um, they appear to each have an angel with a trumpet, and the barbs of the combs. If you look at them very closely, and the finite work that's kind of done on them, they each are a single straight, spotted-looking serpent. Its head at the top, its tail kind of pointed for the sharpness of the comb.
Otmar, have you noticed that the symbolism of all these that of many of these items combines angelic and demonic?
Yes, it's been a bit troubling seeing the fact that all the imagery is so Christian, and yet everything we have dealt with is so not.
It is bothersome.
It is concerning. Um, I feel like Brent, would you have said out loud like maybe we should check my house for the books or library now or something like that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would look at Arthur and say, while I think checking on the university would be paramount soon, if there is anything we can learn from Gabriel's writings or even Brent's father's writings, I feel like that would probably set us on the right path first. And then finding out if you still have your resources so we can properly study these things.
Excellent suggestion.
Would
Okay.
you guys have shared
will
what you learned
accede.
about what you learned about the Godin family and the
Yeah,
Kelvin?
definitely, yeah.
Bianca or Raymond, do either of you know or think you know this Kelvin fellow?
Just to
Good
confirm, that's the one I talked to at the bar, right?
Henry Kelvin, yeah, he works at the bar.
Yeah, I just
The
talked to him
guy
at the
that
bar.
the guy that owns the property also works the bar.
He is one of the members of the family. He does not
Okay.
own the property. No, he is one of the. He's a member of the family that does.
Okay.
And quick note, as Otmar's kind of pinning to the dialogue and kind of showing maps and the like and discussing the stuff. Anybody who answered in session 0 that Arkham is spelled without an H, because this was one of the things we kind of covered. It's
Yep.
spelled with an H now. So if you believe that that was the case, this would be noteworthy. If you believed that it wasn't spelled with an H, this would be noteworthy. Like, obviously, this is a very strange thing to see a document that either confirms or goes against your understanding of how things are supposed to be spelled.
See, you're wrong, and you need to leave now.
You're not in the right. You're in the
Get out.
wrong parallel
Get
out.
universe.
I still got those older documents that they gave me on Adam Godin, right?
Yep.
I'll unfurl those. I'll have a look.
Yeah.
See if the information has stuck to the page. If anything's
Everything you have on your person is as it was. Nothing has changed.
so, it will have his address list, or well,
He never lived
I guess
in Arkham.
Arkham wouldn't necessarily be on there, would it?
No. Actually,
Just-
it would be because they originally came from Arkham, so it would note that, and it's spelled with no H.
Would we
Must have been a
know which of us actually thought it was spelled with an H versus not an H?
This is
Yeah.
a great point for you to discourse that matter.
Yeah. I would ask that. Otmar would say, "Can we just have just kind of a classroom activity at this point? A show of hands. Who thinks Arkham is spelled with an H? If you would, please raise your hand. It'd be great to
Are you
know."
raising your hand right now,
raises
Brent? I
this-
can't tell.
Oh no, I'm distracted.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just Arthur.
Yeah.
Can I be
Okay.
blunt? I don't know.
Well,
I've never been in the area. I've seen it written a couple times. This one time, it's written without.
is that a session 0 thing, though, John?
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be. I think we discussed on his outsider side of it. He wouldn't be terribly familiar with the region. He's from
Okay.
New York.
Did we figure out? Sorry, Chody, I didn't know if you raised your hand.
You're really asking Jody and Brent.
Yeah.
What?
Do you spell
Would-
Arkham with an H or without an H?
I'm gonna be totally honest. I don't know. I'm going to say that I'm in the opposite timeline because the timeline we were in previously was my main one.
So then.
So you're in
no
the
H.
So you want it with
without
an
an
H.
H. You're the no H, yeah.
I'm no.
No,
way.
no, he is no H. So
He's
Chody's
no
no H. Brent. Oh,
No
well,
H.
yeah.
Brent's
No
just no
H.
H because he doesn't want to go back to that place.
He likes the focus.
He likes it better here.
Okay, so right now, the only one that definitively spelled it with an H is Arthur. Okay,
Yeah.
that is good knowledge to know. I
So
mean,
then,
Oh,
has
yeah,
something like this happened to you before then, Arthur? Have you dealt with these things before?
No, I have an academic interest in these things, and I think I might have mentioned that I belong to what is that face for?
I'm having fun. I'm having fun.
What is that? So I belong to a kind of a group of occult enthusiasts called the Golden Order of the Hermetic Dawn. We meet and discuss these things. Otmar is also a member in the Louisiana chapter. But it's just we're dabblers, really. This is very new. I don't
This
know
is
what the hell.
Dabblers like
extreme.
he
We
was on
what?
the back at the farm where you cut little girls up and then you put salt rings with pictures around them.
I'm offended that you would say such a thing, Bianca. What I mean by that is we think of it as an occult book club. We bring in different texts, we read and we discuss. We have the occasional harmless seance. Nothing happens.
And also,
But
I would step in and say, also assuming that that was a human who did that, when you have no proof of that, that we do not know what caused that issue. All we saw were dead bodies, and we have saw many transitions and many changes. So just to assume that someone you know or have met could have just outright done that against a farm boy, a woman of work, and had zero issues and been able to just carve and do whatever they wanted, I feel is very short sighted.
but he's the only one that has spelled it that way, like you said. So
I don't disagree
wow.
with that, but I don't think any of us here also would you say that we switched if this is really what's happening, a reality switch. Would you say we did this willingly? That we knew what was happening before if Arthur wasn't here, we wouldn't even
No,
know
no,
that
no,
it was
no.
not spelled.
You
I'm just
seemed
trying to
awfully
find out.
willing to face those mirrors together, son.
We had seen for research. We wanted to know. Is there not curiosity?
Sure, there's curiosity, but there's also a line of thinking and doubt that should come into play.
There
This
was.
mirror dimension, you
What did
seem awfully certain of it.
mirror? She starts jotting it. Mirror dimension.
I
Very good.
am
Very
You can
good.
have that one for free.
From a
That's fine.
capitalist such as yourself, I'm shocked, but thank you.
We'll keep it in
saying
mind.
saying certain is not the word. Saying it's my theory, it's my discussion at the moment is the better way to put it. You not being around here, you not having the opinions, and everyone treating Raymond differently, a whole new house appearing out of nowhere. If you have a better explanation, I would love to hear it so we could talk about it. But
Explanation, no, but I'm just trying to get home.
I was talking to Henry.
My bad.
like,
Sorry.
no, you're good to chime in, but like I was
As
like pointed that at Henry.
as you're bantering, the pocket door kind of that closes off this portion of the kind of like you know place where books are kept. Not a library, but place where books are kept. I don't know words today.
Bookhouse.
The bookhouse slides open,
Yep.
and the old man Jim curator kind of like pops in and kind of looks at Bianca, kind of like
You're supposed to
hopefully,
tell them to leave.
kind of hopefully.
Oh, right. Yes. The 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 book housing place is being closed, so we need to take this somewhere else if need be, or put a hold on it until tomorrow. I pack up my stuff, including the brushes, and put them away and get ready to leave.
So Henry, you definitely did see the combs. If you want to bandy him out on some more cash, chucking him at Bianca, but we can discuss that later. Do you
I'll talk
folks
through it.
gather up your stuff and get out of here?
Sure.
Yeah.
Any materials that you acquired inside of the village hall that you want to take with you and request to take with you from the curator?
I'll jot down the address for Godin and the Kelvin place.
In your own
Yep,
little
we
ledger
have
book?
that.
That's fine.
Sure.
You're not taking any documents or anything.
Nah, I'm not taking
No.
anything away.
No.
Then, after about 10 or 15 minutes, you folks manage to kind of muster yourself, getting all your notes and such, and you exit out of the village hall. By this point, we've got that beautiful kind of, sundown sky where it's like purples and oranges and yellows off on the horizon. Down the hill. You can see that there's some lights that are kind of popping up on farmhouses, and definitely some lights that are kind of popping up inside of the buildings on the main kind of strip here in downtown Pico. From that position, where would you like to go? Bianca, you have a residence here. Raymond, you have a residence here. Henry, you have accommodations. Arthur and Otmar, you can get a place at the rooming house without a problem. So if that's a matter that you'd like to, explore, you can. Or if you wish to continue, you feel like the day is still young, or the night's, not even, no issues. You could continue with the day.
Do we know what time things close down in town?
5 o'clock. So already, the only places
Okay.
that are open will be the rooming house, the tavern, and the general store is open for a little longer.
And forgive me, Godin now lives in Arkham. Is
Correct.
that right? Okay.
The Gowden household moved in 1903. So
Right.
Okay.
Adam was presumably a part of that because he was in his like mid to late 30s or 40s, early 40s.
Mhm.
At least the version of him that you found and also saw.
I
The
would look at
versions.
Arthur and say, I think it would be smart if we're talking about room and board and everything like that. And I would look over at Raymond and be like, is there any way in that much more accommodating house of yours that you could fit 2 strangers for the night?
I mean, I don't know what rooms are full because I haven't explored it myself, but I'm sure there's 2.
That'd be quite nice.
Okay, yeah. I'll put us at the center of the action.
As long as you promise not to put the mirrors together, if that's how I got my house.
I do not want to see what I saw again. So
We do not want to see the opposite. the
Yeah.
unimagining.
So
of
could
the
I do a
house.
thing though? Are those combs still available?
No, Bianca took them and put them in her pocket, so it's up to
Could I see one of them, Bianca?
When we get outside, yeah. Once you.
Okay.
well,
Yeah. When I get outside.
You shuffle one out, kind of hold
Cody.
open the wrap.
Cody.
What?
And I would
Oh no,
Take
he's
what-
not taking it. He's just looking at it.
All
I
right.
would take one of the combs. Jeez, this guy.
Take some cones.
Yeah, man. No. There's a price to be had.
So no, I
It's
just
not
want to
Jody, it's
do.
the character. So
I want to do an experiment. He says to Bianca, and he says, "Otmar, you wanna look with me?" And then he would take his hand mirror, and he would put it in front of himself, and then he would
She's
put
gonna step back.
the comb in front of closer to himself. So basically, the comb is in front, and then the mirror looking at himself is in front of him, just to see anything strange.
no, I mean it reflects fine. Everything seems to be within normal reality order. Nothing strange or crazy happens.
And then he puts the comb through his hair.
Okay, so that's very interesting. So everyone's kind of confused by the activity as he puts the comb in his hair. There are some onlookers who are also
Well, I've got a mirror. I'm combing my hair.
they're confused. I mean, yeah, sure, you're professorly, and again, the ideas of gender norms were a little bit more strict during this era. So you are definitely not. You're making a scene.
That's fine. That's fine.
So some people are a bit confused by that. But
He does it just very quickly and then puts
yeah,
it away.
nothing strange happens. Is the
Nothing
main
hands.
thing. Yeah.
Okay. Then he says, "Thank you," and he hands the comb back to Bianca.
The only reason it's strange is because people are stupid. That's it. So yeah,
I just picture Bianca pulling out like a hair to put it back.
yeah. I mean, I would assume that.
It's
fine.
very possible.
That's
It is
fine.
very possible.
Tuck those back into your coat and or purse.
Mirror
wherever
goes
you're
back
holding.
into my bag.
Perfect. Anything?
Going home.
I'll take Malachi out to the rooming house.
Okay. He's got a spot at your place too. Or are you just going there for a research?
Oh, we're going there for a drink.
Oh, it's the rooming house wouldn't be the place then. It's the
It
Oh,
would
I'm
be the
sorry.
gauche. The
The
gauche.
gauche.
The ghost.
rooming
Oh,
house
okay.
is-
The gauche is next to the rooming house. Forgive me.
Rooming house is
I
basically.
forgot the title.
Yeah, it's a tavern and inn basically.
Yeah, if you're going there, remember, be like, yeah, tell him I sent you.
Can
And,
do so.
Not to nobody else that you got alcohol there.
I'm sure it's a closely kept secret.
He says it out loud.
So that's a great
Don't
question.
anyone! I'm across the street already.
Is Fitzgerald someone who partakes in illegal activities, a la speakeasies and the like in New York, or is he a teetotaler?
He'll have a drink from time to time. He obviously has it imported for private parties, but
Chandler getting some feedback.
he
from
won't.
you.
He won't say no.
Oh, the local hooch is too good for.
Okay. So
Not imported as in bought from out of country. Imported as in like purchased for storage.
so you would head with your man to.
You're being classist right now.
I'm being classist.
You would head with
Yeah.
your man to the watering hole, so to speak. And then Arthur and Otmar, you're riding with Raymond back to his house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Arthur could take his own. Did he take his own car?
Yeah, you could take your own car.
Yeah. So that's what I would want to do. Yeah.
I would ride with Arthur.
Yeah, it's a nicer vehicle for sure. And Bianca, are
Ride or
you
die.
staying at home in town, splitting with these folks, and do you want to like set up any kind of like, hey, we should meet at this time, this place, if we're going to do something next? What would Bianca do?
I would tell them to meet at my place at 8. I'll have breakfast ready.
Miss Bianca, can I buy you a drink?
Absolutely, sir.
Oh,
So he'll go with her.
Is
Come
he-
along.
She'll take his arm and then
very good.
Hell yeah.
And she has just his $200. Yes, you can buy me a drink.
Yeah, sure. I'll take more
Yeah.
freebies.
She's a supplier,
Yeah,
Chandler. Have you? My God.
hilarious. Okay,
The
so
intellectuals have never done business before.
regarding Otmar, Raymond, and Arthur, we'll go ahead and deal with that one fast because it's not terribly hard to deal with. You get to the house, you have more than enough rooms to not only substantiate the guests that you just took in, but you're pretty sure you could put up 2 more people comfortably and maybe 3 or 4 more people if they're willing to kind of sleep out on cots or the like. You do realize that you have a library in your house. So, in that main foyer where you still have the vanity used as a desk, nearby there is a door that leads into a room that is kind of just stacks of books. It's not organized. It very much looks like, as you're looking at it, Raymond, you're like, yeah, I would have done that. It's like clutter. There's some shelves, and then they'll just have books kind of stacked unorganized on them. But a lot of the books and stuff that you're looking at are religious texts. It seems like a lot of stuff that would be kind of extracurricular reading for people who didn't get enough out of church, I guess is the best way to say it. Arthur and Otmar are actually recognizing some of the titles that are present because they deal more with kind of the occult. So one of the prime titles you'll see in this kind of space is the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Say that again, please.
The Lesser Key of Solomon, the Abe Goetia, on principalities. There's a bunch of different books that deal with like Christianity, but not just Christianity, like kind of the metaphysical ideas on Christianity. There are other texts that are present here. Some of them is kind of some of it's just kind of fiction. Like there's fictitious books that are not uncommon. Similar theming, I guess, would be close. But the main thing that you're noticing here is that there are some books that don't have titles and look like they're kind of handwritten kind of journals or texts that were kind of scribed by other parties. If you pop them open, they do not seem to be written in similar hands. Looks like it's a lot of different individuals who kind of put in work in writing these texts.
I mean, before he even puts his things down in the room, he's just going to sit down on the floor and start going through these books and organizing them. Do you mind? Do you mind, Raymond?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even read. So,
Could I take some of these?
I don't even know what they are, but they look cool in here.
They do look cool in here.
There is a part of the book grouping here, Raymond, that actually you recall. These would have been books that your dad had during the time that he was still living with you before he passed. But you don't know where they went in your reality. When they asked you, about the books, you didn't have a library, so to speak, in the other house. This is very different. But there's a grouping of books kind of up on its own shelf in a kind of smattering of stack, which appears to be the books that your father was those are the ones he hung on to. The rest of these books you don't know where they came from, but those ones like those
I'll
are
point those out to him.
Okay.
Like these ones are the one Dad kept in the other, what'd you call it, reality?
Wow. What?
You said it was a reality. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
these are the books that Dad kept in. I don't know what happened to him after he died, but
I would definitely look at those books.
Yeah, same. Those would be the first ones I would go to.
well, as Arthur starts kind of going through like the organization process, looking for things that are like good. Otmar would probably be the first one to kind of get his hands on the books. There seems to be a lot of explainers in a lot of these books. They're basically like guides on how to work wood. It doesn't look like a lot of the things that are being said in this book are things that you, as an educated individual who wasn't into like wood shop, would be terribly familiar with. And I'll be honest, I don't know them either. So there are a lot of terminologies and kind of measurements and methods and such that are kind of in this book and are used as this common language. But again, to you, it just looks like a bunch of jargon that's being kind of put to page here. And I would say the better half of the books are like this. There are 3 books that stand out from these books in their entirety. One of the books seems to be a handwritten copy of the portion of Genesis that describes the tale of Noah's Ark. But it looks like it has been expanded upon with a lot of notes in between, which is very strange. And it seems to extend it to like a good 30 pages. And then there's a whole backdraft of the book, like this journal, where the paper is just empty, blank, unused as of yet. Like there was more to come, or perhaps they kind of underestimated the length of their story writing.
If I just skim through the editions, does anything strike me as like what's the nature of the editions about?
Sure. So as you're reading it, you read that. It goes pretty much as you understand it. I don't know the exact Bible passages,
Sure.
but it goes exactly as it is described. But during the time in the story when Noah is on the boat and has sent out a raven, and then before he sends out the dove, in that portion, there is this entirely long tale of one of the creatures on the boat speaking to Noah and telling him the truth of his life after they land. And it's this entirely fictionalized account so far as you can tell, but this beast that is not described as anything but is able to speak, and the writing specifically references as the serpent was in the garden. It also mentions that the beast creature that is being written about here specifically details how they will come to land, where they'll come to land, and how it will be different for Noah when he does land. He will be unlike a king unto man. The passage that kind of makes you seem like the most kind of, okay, that's weird, is a passage that reads, God shrived the world clean of the unbeliever, and you will be unlike a king, but not unlike a king, to those who come after. If you kind of skim through the book, it's very strange handwriting. You can very clearly see the differences of where, like, the handwriting style changes, right? Very, King James style writing when they're just transcribing the story, and then it kind of breaks into more, modernity kind of style writing when they're explaining these segments that are being kind of described in between.
What was the word that you said after God? God something the world clean?
God shrived the world clean of the unbeliever.
Strived. Okay.
Shrive. I'm going to make sure the word is the word I want. Assign penance to. Shrive. Yeah.
Okay.
SHRIVE.
Thank
I feel
you.
like I'm back in school. I'm writing down whole passages over here on a little notebook.
I know, right? I love that. It's my favorite thing.
That's why I'm doing
I would look over at,
Board game and out.
I would look over at Raymond and ask if was your dad overtly religious? Do you remember anything about him being maybe shunned from his fellow Christians? It's the best way I could put it.
No,
Do you not remember going to church or anything like that in this very small town?
no.
Okay, I find that as a point of oddity in such a small town and out of character, especially in the 20s, that you wouldn't be part of a local church or anything. Also, have we learned of a local church?
Yeah,
in
there's a
Baiko?
church in town.
Okay, just making sure.
No problem. The church I think we discussed is.
Not that building at the south.
Yeah.
West.
It's not the school. It's on the southwest. Here we go.
Is
Yeah.
it not
Okay.
that?
So yes, correct.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, with all the cemetery.
The church-looking one with the cemetery.
Yeah.
What's the name of the church?
Gijo, make up a name for the church in the chat. And
I
come back
think
to
this warrants investigation.
It's
Arthur
not
would
an
say.
important story beat for me, but yeah, it is a church. You'll note that if you pass through town, the church is actually in disrepair.
Oh, it's not used.
Not lately, no.
I would look over at Arthur and say, "How many small towns do you know of that do not use their church quite frequently,
We have
let
made
alone all the time?"
we have made a point to note that this town does have booze and prostitutes. So
Still.
The
Still.
20s were roaring, Chandler.
They would still have a. I mean, it's still basically
roaring out of their
community
minds.
center. To me, it would be an
Blessed Waters
oddity.
Presbyterian is the name of the church.
Blessed
Blessed Waters Presbyterian Church, and yeah,
Love it, thank you.
Raymond. You actually remember when you were 4 that it caught fire.
Yeah, for some reason the pretty vivid memory that I got is it was on fire at one point, way back when, about 13 years ago.
And your dad's buried outside of it.
Dad's buried out there.
So's Gabriel, you think?
I think Grandpa is too. Don't know much about Mom.
I love
Grandma.
defeating memories.
We need to.
I remember it so clearly now.
We need to get there.
And line.
Line, please.
I appreciate it. It's fun. So,
Sorry, Andy, you want to get out there?
Yeah, I do actually have a reason.
I would say the last note I have on that Otmar is as you're kind of flipping through the blank pages, you're kind of bored with it. Would you just make sure that every page has nothing on it before you close it, or just put it away? No problem.
Yeah, I would flip through every page.
Otmar.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I would as well. I would flip through.
Yeah, you
I
flip
would
through.
do a quick flip
The
through.
last page appears to be a page that's almost entirely torn out and drawn in a very artistic but also very kind of draftsman hand is an image of what appears to be an angel, but the angel has a serpent's face.
I knew it.
You like snakes? That's
Well, Otmar, I wonder if there's something in this church. I wonder if the church also reflects this kind of bent towards the serpent. It's
God, I'm not stealing all of fucking Chizo's.
rather chilling.
yeah. Otmar would agree and would ask the very simple question of, do we think this is an activity for the day or the night? I don't know how many people would be kind to us rummaging around a graveyard in a church. So
I mean, it's a horror game, so it's almost like a requirement, but that's okay.
As a story beat, I'm okay with some B&Es.
It doesn't seem to be used very much, right?
Yeah, I was about to say. You said it burnt. There might be openings. It might not have. I might
I
not have to
mean,
burn.
it would attract less
You
attention
you
this
do
time of
you
day,
do
right?
Yeah,
know
I
this is
mean-
America, right? And property is like super important to people, even if it isn't usable property.
I mean,
Neither of you are from here. You're gonna get so arrested.
or shot.
artwork's
All
pretty
right,
strong. You
all
can
right.
dig
We
them up
could
pretty
we could
fast.
do it. We could do it the right way tomorrow, I guess. Otmar.
That's a great
Is
there a
question.
right way?
Why isn't Brent burning everything down? It is a town. That doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
but I just got rich. I mean,
but I'm
It's
rich.
my
though.
town.
give me a second to get the money going, then
Isn't
I can
that the way
cover
with
up the burning
capitalism?
down.
You're
Oh yeah. Capitalism locks you in on the property.
no
that's
longer
it.
wants you to burn it down, huh?
Now, see, I gotta build up the money so that when I burn everything down, I can buy it all back
And
for
the
cheaper.
insurance. You get the insurance
Yep.
claims because you already.
There we
Oh, I
go.
see. You're smart. That's
Yep.
funny. Okay. Anyways, focusing up. So we are not going to the church in the middle of the night.
So was that just one of the books, or were the other anything important in the
Sure,
other?
there were two other books that are
remember?
important. Very good point, Brent. We'll get to those, but I'm
Oh.
asking, like, there is an onus to kind of move forward, like, and potentially, go into the church in the middle of the night. Is that something that's happening, Arthur, Otmar?
No, I don't think it's happening.
Okay.
Otmar talked him out of
We'll
it.
focus on the other two books. So the second journal, or book, appears to be a series of just pages filled to the brim with very strange, crazy people writing. A lot of things that you're seeing here don't appear to be real words or language that you're familiar with. However, there are signs and symbols that both of you will recognize, and that even Raymond at this point would be able to recognize. For some reason, there's interspliced through a lot of it Celtic runes, or kind of the runes you've seen so far. They were Gaelic or Celtic? I can't remember. What did I say?
I think you said Gaelic.
They were
Gaelic,
said
Right,
Gaelic.
right. Gaelic runes, and all of the pages that have those on them have a circle pattern for those runes specifically.
Maybe they're meant for quick access to whatever the mirrors do.
The last book that is of import, opening it, it describes a lot about Baiko, but it seems like it's the same kind of descriptions, but with slight differences over and over and over and over again. So they're just explaining all of the buildings that they can see from some point that they're standing in the town, as if they were just writing what they can see. And then on the next page, or the next page after that, however long it would take to write that whole blurb, there's just another kind of description of it, but there are slight differentiations in each one of these writings. And the entirety of the book is filled with somewhere around 90 different descriptions of the town. All of them slightly different. And it seems
Okay.
that the church is only burned down in the last half of these.
Okay. Question: does my new house have a fridge or no?
No. I don't
Okay, I'm
think
gonna go
fridges
get some milk.
existed.
They
An
did.
ice
Eh,
box.
they're in their
Icebox,
infancy.
icebox,
Is
yeah.
this term.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I think we looked at it last time.
yeah, you're
They
relatively
just
rich.
started having like gas stoves in the 20s, so
You could have an ice box. That's fine.
He just wants a cold glass of milk. That's what he
Yeah.
wants.
According
I would-
to the internet, yeah, they're basically just metal ice boxes. And this baby cat is really doing it.
He wants to be in the 20s.
I'm black and white.
He's got a roar.
Where's my cigar?
It's like the baby from Roger Rabbit, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Herman, or whatever his name was. Okay, stop being bad. Alright. Focus up. What are we doing?
I'm gonna get a glass of milk and then go lay down.
So I think we learned a lot of good stuff here, and we'll
Bad with
turn
you
in.
two, though? Okay, cool. To
Yeah,
the others.
I would. Yeah.
Henry and Bianca, you head to the bar, or the gauche, and it's decently packed. A lot of folks that you know. A lot of your employees actually are present here, and they kind of give you looks nodding looks. There are also a bunch of girls you don't know. I'd say probably a half dozen to 9 or so individuals you don't know who are also kind of giving you looks as if they know you, and they also seem to be girls you've trained, if you get my meaning.
Yep.
Like you kind of have like eye contact, specific kind of like understandings with your girls. These girls appear to be in the know, but you don't know them.
So I said earlier I had a meeting with them. They didn't show up.
Oh, so no, yeah, you would have. Sorry, apologies. Dumb brain, not working right. Yes, you know that you have extra girls.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Cool. That's
basically double the girls.
Oh, okay. Is the house same size?
No, it's not that you have one house. You actually have a subset of the rooming house that you employ.
You're doing good.
Yeah, so it's the house, and then also some of the girls will just go to the people in the rooming house, and they have a section cordoned off for people who are facilitating that service.
Do they all look like they're staying in pairs?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have to yell at anybody.
Buddy system's important, Joe.
That's right.
You got your buddy. You sit at the
It's probably why I'm alive today,
sit at the bar.
as far as I know.
You sit at the bar with Henry and of course Malachi. And Henry Henry Calvin walks over. Can I help you folks?
Does he pull up my seat for me?
Good evening,
I
Bianca.
do.
Okay, cool. Then we're
Absolutely.
It'd be a bar stool because you're sitting
That's
at the
fine.
bar.
I
Fair.
still help the lady.
Of
to her
course,
seat.
of course, gentlemen,
Nice.
through and through. You stand.
You used it against me. I might as well keep going.
Yeah. We gotta keep the character flaw, or not flaw. So you seated. He gives you. Mr. Kelvin gives you kind of like a good evening, Bianca, and very cordial, and then asks you what you'd like to drink.
The usual will be fine.
You can see, Henry, that there's a shelf with liquors and liqueurs. Nothing that's like super popping off of like as
They're not going to have the top shelf finest. I understand.
Insanely strange like stuff. Like you do see that a lot of the bottles look like they're just the jars. Your stereotypical jar with like the XXX written on the side and very comic or cartoony.
I don't want to go blind, so I won't try that. I don't know. I'll have a highball.
Okay.
And drinks are on me, sir. Henry Fitzgerald. Glad to meet you.
Drinks for you and the lady, or
The three of us here.
of course. Oh, sorry.
Malachi sat with us, right?
Yeah, of course he definitely has a different vibe. So he didn't know you were together, and then he serves you your beverages. Anything that you would like to ask him in particular or discuss at the bar?
Would he have introduced himself when I introduced myself?
Bartender, not really. No.
I would introduce them.
Okay, then a
Nice.
bit more formal. So then, you would say Henry Fitzgerald. This is Henry Calvin. Henry Calvin and Henry Fitzgerald, and so they know each other by name now.
Oh, call me Heck. Kelvin. I've heard that name around town, haven't I, Bianca?
You have a few times.
Property owner yourself?
That's right. Well, not me in particular. My dad still technically owns everything, but I'm assuming I'm going to get it once he passes, which I'm assuming is not too far down the road now.
Well,
Henry, don't say that about your father.
He's been ill for 3 years. Come on, Bianca. And he has been. On both sides. I want to make sure that's clear.
not my place to wish either way, but I hope he's well. I hope he's comfortable, son.
Yeah, and the name he gives, which again I'm not checking my notes right off, but it's the same name that the guy on the other side said was the mayor. So the
I
father.
only remember Kelvin.
Yeah, Mr. Kelvin, the old man Kelvin was the
Kelvin
mayor.
Sr.
Kelvin Senior, correct.
Bianca's trying to keep poker face when she's noticing some things that are not matching up.
Well, here's the thing. The inconsistency was the in-between with the dead guy.
Mm-hmm.
Baird was mayor both sides. It's
Yeah.
not just this side and that side. There's stuff going on.
The living dead guy was apparently not from where you're from, and also not
Sure.
from where they're from.
He's not from here nor there.
Right, because he said that old man Kelvin was the mayor, but in both realities that you're kind of connected to tangentially, Old Man Kelvin is sick and has been for the better part of 3 years.
We got that straight down. Well, I'd sure love to meet him. I'd love to know about owning property in the area. Does he own much beyond the Byko border?
No, not really. He a long time ago was thinking about moving his properties out, heading towards Arkham, but a lot of folks out there weren't terribly interested in receiving him, especially due in part to his close ties to, kind of crazier beliefs.
Uh-oh. Some of those tall tales of small towns, or
Oh yeah.
something nefarious?
Well, some town folks in smaller towns and the like, believe what they believe, and people who are kind of more city structured. I'm assuming you are not trying to insult or anything, but
I stick out like a sore thumb. I understand.
they kind of fancy themselves as being kind of closer to what is considered, oh God, why is my brain not working? The word that means it actually good for like the church, the way the church is supposed to be run. Starts with an O.
Dogma? No.
Uh,
Orthodox.
Orthodox. That's the God. I'm so
Gotcha.
bad with words today.
Okay. Can I buy you a drink, Henry?
No. I'm fine.
Very
I own all of them already. It's fine. He would say that the folks who are kind of more city related are more orthodox, and his dad, along with a lot of the folks he ran with, weren't so much that way.
Oh,
Well, it
Lutheran?
is why
Presbyterian?
some of us are so welcome in
Presbyterian,
this
yeah.
town.
Sorry, what was that, Cody?
I was just chiming in that it's why some of us are welcomed in this sort of a town, as she kind of nods.
He nods back, and you and me both.
They both sit comfortably in the bend of the rules.
And he would confirm Presbyterian. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's not so bad now, is it?
Yeah. Well, some folks aren't terrible fans of it. In fact, we back in the earlier part of the 20th century, the folks over in Arkham had specific disputes with our church folk.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, we had ourselves a bit of a raid that happened back in the 1900s or early the first decade.
A raid here in Byko?
Yeah, folks came down. Pinkertons were among them. And just a bunch of people hooting and hollering, shooting guns, making folks, take to account. And they shot the priest out in front of the church, and they burned the place to the ground. Said he was-
Whatever for? How unorthodox could one church be, sir?
Well, they were saying he was protecting a known charlatan.
I'll be.
Some sort of devil worshiper, they said. Don't know much about it, but apparently it can't be the case. I mean, his grandson went on to be, very famous and well-to-do landowner here in Vico. Probably one of the, more lucrative farmers out here. In fact, one of the reasons why I'm able to keep this establishment going. Mr. Revels.
Oh, who's that?
Mr. Revels.
Revels. I think I drove past his farm on my way out of town.
Well, that's weird. You headed north? Or you came in from the north?
Oh, I've got an Irish driver. We took a couple wrong turns. You understand?
Malachi's stern face kind of gives you a look, and then kind of looks.
I don't know why I have this invented stereotype of Irish drivers, and I love it.
It's not even really a thing. I don't think
It's not a thing.
Right.
It's genuinely not a thing.
But everybody
They drive fast and they make mistakes.
And all of her realities, you'll know you're going to be in a different reality when someone goes, Irish drivers, what do you mean by that? You're like, where the fuck are we? Where the fuck
We'll give you a lift sometime, I'll show you.
I think we've sideslipped into some strange reality where Irish aren't known crazy drivers. But yeah, he says, Raymond's grandpa, Gabriel. He was the presumed heretic or whatever.
And did they murder him in this rave?
Oh no, they never
Raid?
found him. They killed the priest though.
I'll be.
And they
Whatever
burned.
became of the devil worshipper?
Nobody knows. His son was, taken to Arkham, raised there by a foster family, and then came back into town, got all of his dad's properties, and found himself a wife, had a kid, and that's Raymond.
Those all have to meet the young man. That's quite a tall tale.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. How is old Thomas Logan doing?
Thomas Logan.
Yeah, is he doing well? Have you seen him lately?
Out of character. Who's Thomas Logan? Should I know that name?
I think you're making shit up.
No,
No,
I'm not.
hold on. Let me check. Let me check.
Is this
notes.
another Jim and Helen?
Yeah, sure. Thomas Logan's the priest.
No. Thomas
Right.
Logan's the priest. His Protestant church has
Sure.
a good following to it. It's called the Cross of Parsons.
Yeah, the Cross
It's
of
also where
Parsons
might establish.
is separate from the church. It doesn't. It doesn't meet at the burnt church. So the Cross
Okay.
of Parsons.
I was just trying to figure stuff out. Sorry,
Good call.
my bad.
No, not a problem. The Cross of Parsons is more a church in the sense that they're kind of like a group that meets together. They don't actually have a building that they kind of meet at. But he does not know who you're talking about.
Huh. Must be memory going with age. Forgot the person's
Well, you've been
name.
around, Bianca. I mean, it's probably the case you might know him from somewhere else. Maybe he's an Arkham City
Yeah.
boy or something like that.
Could be. Long days.
You do remember where he lives, though.
Okay,
Is it
no,
3 Kelvin Lane?
It's not.
Damn, that would have been a tightly wrapped package.
Would have been insanely good, but yeah, no. Thomas Logan would live on the approach. He lives in this L-shaped building here.
Okay.
We've got Kelvin Sr. is a perpetually dying old man. Some 3 years ago, Orthodox members of the church came and raided Baiko's Holy Water
Mm-hmm.
Church.
Blessed
Waters.
Waters Presbyterian.
Blessed
Right.
Waters Presbyterian killed the priest in a manhunt for an alleged devil worshipper, which was Gabriel Reyes. Revel. I keep wanting to say Reyes.
So they ran him out of town. He showed up in Arkham next. He found a wife and then came back and had Raymond. No,
Chronologically,
he had,
it's a little bit.
he had another. There was the child, and then Raymond was the
there was the in
child's
between.
child.
Yeah, he had his son, which was
Right.
Raymond's dad,
Okay.
before the burning of the building. And
But
then-
Raymond's dad was taken into some kind of like foster care or something. If they took him to Arkham,
Right,
is what they said. They took him to Arkham.
correct. They took him into Arkham before the burning of the church.
Oh,
I'm going to chronologicalize that. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah,
please. Yeah, take your time.
Temporally, we need to understand exactly the beat for beat. So, first
Yes.
things first. Okay. Your dad's name, Brent, started with an R.
Hey,
Raymond.
what you went with Richard?
Richard,
Oh,
right?
was it Richard? You're Raymond.
Richard Revel, born. He would have been 40 when he passed, which was in
3 years ago.
3 years
24.
ago. 24. So he would have been right. That's accurate. Okay, so 1903 is when they left, and you were 17 years old.
Mhm.
Okay. So then he would have been taken to Arkham before then, raised in Arkham. So he was born in 88 or 86. He was taken in 19. Would have been hold on. So 1886. He was taken in 1898. So he would have been 12. And then he was raised in Arkham. Arkham. Came back to Baiko in 1915.
Wait, I'm sorry. The church was burned down 14 years ago.
Correct.
I had that backwards.
Who'd
So it would have been
more
in
1914. Sorry, not 1914.
1913 or 14.
1913, because he would have came back and it would have been burned down shortly thereafter.
I was gonna say, nobody was hiding Gabriel Revels 3 years ago. He's been dead for some time, or
Right.
assumed dead for quite a while.
So Gabriel was still alive in the 20s. No, Gabriel would have not. Gabriel would have been goes missing in 1913. That's what I have here. I'm just typing it up for you in shorthand.
Okay.
1913, after church is burned, and then Richard dies in 1924. In original, sold property to Adam in 1920. So Richard Revels was born in 1886. He's taken to Arkham by third parties to get him away from the heretic of Gabriel, or he was just basically put up for adoption by Gabriel who didn't want to deal with him. Don't know for sure. Two different methods have kind of come about that. He's raised in Arkham by a foster family. He comes back to Byco in 1913 when he is the right old age of 27. And he has a means to kind of gather his father's stuff back to him. The church burns maybe 2 months after he arrives. Gabriel disappears after that point. And then Richard dies in 1924 of a similar kind of malady that the Mr. Old Man Kelvin is currently suffering from. And then the original property, the one that doesn't exist anymore, was sold to Adam Gowden by Richard Revels in 1920, 7 years ago. Right?
Yep.
Any consistency so far? Because I think I have it measured. It just, I don't want to just post my timeline because it has other beats that I don't want to.
We can always fix it, but I think you're good.
Okay. Yeah, of course, I've been known to fuck up on timelines. It's like
Sure.
part
Well,
of
anybody can. We're kind of making stuff up as it goes.
Sure.
I was about to say, we're looking like the crazy people with red lines at the moment. Like,
100%. We love to see it. That's what we want. That's the goal. That's the dream.
What kind of strange disease did Richard die of that?
So,
old man has.
according to Raymond, it's kind of just like a wasting disease. Basically, I don't think cancer was like a thing that was cancer.
They were terribly aware of it.
When was cancer invented?
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's cancer.
Huh.
It's
I'll
just
be damned.
cancer. I guess cancer has been known, and that term has been used since 1600 BC.
It's been a long time.
What?
Been a minute.
I thought it was just that's fine. I just a Mandela effect myself. I thought I remember cancer just being kind of not really known about, but ta-da! People are smarter than me. People who came before me.
Wild.
I don't know why I thought that. Like the first time
I always assumed
Yeah.
cancer, like, yes, cancer has existed. Yes, of course.
Sure.
I assumed that we, like, studies and discovery of cancer and carcinogens
It was like in the 1800s.
all came about in, like, late 1800s.
Yeah. Or like
No,
I remember the first.
I mean, it's just mostly tumors, probably in the
Sure.
early parts. Like they would see a tumor and be like, we're gonna call that cancer. We're gonna take the tumor."
And of course, you would have the refutation of whether or not it is a tumor by kindergarten cops. So that makes sense. Yeah, I get it. But moving on.
I liked it.
Thank you.
I caught it.
It's not a tumor.
There it is.
Moving on.
Can't leave that one on the shelf, huh?
I had to do it. I referenced it. I was surprised I didn't just do it mid reference.
I don't see any means of getting access to number 3 Kelvin Lane. And Henry Kelvin's not especially interested in allowing Hank Fitzgerald to meet Kelvin Senior.
Not so much, especially not this late.
Okay. Yeah, Jody, you got anything? Bianca, you got anything?
Hey, the girls had made some cookies for your dad out there. Do you want us to drop them off, or you want to take them?
Oh, I can
Not
take them.
tonight, of course. Well, they're not ready yet, silly.
Oh, well, yeah, just
I'll-
drop them off here.
I'll drop them off tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be around. Thanks,
All right.
Bianca.
No problem.
And then,
I hope the girls can cook now.
Why wouldn't they be able to? It's the 20s.
oh, come
It's
on now.
one of their things, dude.
That's also fair.
I mean,
They
yeah,
were,
that's fair.
It was a
It's a fair
pastime.
assumption for the time.
yeah.
It's a fair assumption for the time. My bad.
The way education worked back then was a bit different.
There's a pie on every windowsill in this town, and there's at least 4 men floating towards any
Well-
3 of them now.
I was kind of going more for their
That's what I would do all
there
day.
for the experience, not
Sure.
just the action.
Right.
So they are there to make a full experience.
Yeah.
So they know how
Fair
to
enough.
cook, they know how to sew,
The
they
wife
know how to
experience, the
cook.
girlfriend experience. Yeah,
Exactly.
Different packages. I got you.
I get you. And again, like we saw with alternate, timelines, sometimes it's the case if they find a suitor who is especially fond of them, they may move
Right.
on and just become, wife material.
It is the
Absolutely.
goal.
Yeah, I mean it's the dream, right? Especially as we kind of move towards Depression era. But if there's nothing else, you two folks are heading to bed. Is that fair to say?
That's fine.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
pay for a round or two and say my goodbyes.
Okay. So I think I'm going to deal with Henry first because it's the most interesting for me. And then we'll move through everybody else as we kind of do some sequential stuff thereafter. In the evening time, you get back to the mayor's house. Very formal, very just kind and nice. But the mayor does ask to meet with you in the smoking room if you are feeling up for it. If not, you don't have to.
Oh, happily.
What ends up happening here, and the conversation I want to make sure you understand, is so trite. I don't even want to bother you with trying to hop into it. He is literally the entire time effectively politically begging you for campaign contributions as he wishes to go and become governor of the state of Massachusetts. That's what the whole situation is. And you, throughout the entire discourse, if you try to wind it away from there, he's winding it right back.
Okay.
It is the most annoying conversation you've ever had. Mayor Baird is not terribly interesting. Do you have any
Sure.
questions that you wanted to ask Mayor Baird in specific that you would try to pierce the discourse a bit with, or is there anything that you wanted to talk to him about specifically? If not, we're going right to the Betty by time.
I don't especially have any angles to work with the mayor. I'll be polite in the discourse of it.
Okay, great. So then we go to bed.
Sure.
While you are asleep, do you feel that Henry is a light sleeper, or is he like large, like kind of honk shoe, like deep sleep boy?
Loaded question.
We know which one's the
I-
truth.
I know personally I am a honk shoe.
I get that vibe from you, Zach. I wasn't gonna say anything. I definitely.
I've been described as a statue coming to life upon waking on a couch,
More than fair.
and apparently it's a pretty consistent theme.
And to kind of backtrack a bit too, you also strike me as the kind of guy who would float towards a pie in a window. So.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
the only means of air travel I've ever accomplished.
Same.
More than fair. So, light sleeper or heavy for Henry?
Let's just flip a coin. Odds are gonna be heavy. He's a heavy sleeper.
Okay.
Sorry if that's boring.
No, it's not.
No, it's great.
It's absolutely fine. So, in the
Okay.
midst of your sleep, there's a point where you are brought to the waking status due to a very heavy pressure on your chest. When your eyes flutter open, the sensation of not being able to move your body is very disconcerting. You can feel like there's something that is pressing your chest down so hard that it's causing your entire being to remain locked in place, with the exception of your neck, your eyes, kind of your face. You're able to kind of maneuver these elements without issue. In this state, as is natural, it's presumed that you kind of quickly peruse around the room, like wondering what's going on. In kind
Oh,
of
I can move now.
well, just the neck and head, yeah.
Oh, I'm looking around it.
Yeah,
Okay, sorry.
Kind of doing like a double take of the area.
Gotcha.
In the corner of the room, dark as it may be, starlight coming in through the window, you're able to make out what appears to be the silhouette or the presence of a human man. Just standing there in the corner. In the darkness, you're pretty sure the light, the faint amount of light that's present there, reflects just enough of the whites of his eyes for you to get an idea of the look on his face. And it's not very helpful for your kind of current status. First off, it seems familiar.
He has an unhelpful look about it.
Well, it's a face. It's a face that you've seen quite a bit in the last day. Someone
Okay.
you recognize, and as you kind of think on it, and kind of try and gather yourself as best you can here, in the state of not being able to move, you realize that the face you're looking at is Otmar's face, but it appears to be twisted, completely and horribly. The mouth seems to be wider than a normal man's mouth can be. The one eye that seems to be reflecting the most light seems to be continuously just rolling around inside of its socket, so that sometimes you can see the pupil, sometimes you cannot. And as you kind of get this vibe that they're there for ill intent, the flash of an eye, the flash of just like, a breath, a wink, a blink rather, causes you to realize that it's not there at all. The weight is free off of your chest, and there appears to be a scratching or knocking sound coming from the mirror that is boarded up and taped up and kind of, packaged up for movement. It sounds like there's something inside of the mirror, like packaging, that is trying to get out. What would you like to do? You now have free faculties of your entire body. Free use of these faculties.
I'm on out of bed. Hmm.
It's not like super loud. It's just kind of like a cat at the door kind of situation.
And there is no doubt in my mind. It's not like a nearby window. It's absolutely a noise is coming from that mirror.
You do one of those kind of like...
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's
you go
1920s.
For sure. And yeah, 100%. This is the source of the sound.
Where is Malachi in regards to like his boarding?
I'd say he would be sleeping down the ways a bit.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hang on one second. If you guys had a Malachi, wouldn't you want him?
I would get Malachi
I was
immediately.
just waiting for you to like whimper, Malachi.
Where's my helper?
I stand by. I would get a Malachi.
I'm not saying I wouldn't, but it's
Yeah,
funny.
same.
So,
And a glass
He
of
would.
milk.
He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be next door. He wouldn't be.
so the way that the rooms are set up, you're kind of in like a master bedroom, and the only adjoining room would be a bathroom, or like a room of that kind of stature. You have an ensuite bathroom, and so down the ways a bit would be where he would be sleeping. It's not he doesn't have a very lavish bedroom.
Mm,
Do you kind of move towards the door like you're thinking about heading that way though?
I'll move towards the door where my cane is leaned up against a chair near it.
You take a hold of it, and as you do, you can hear that there are people talking just outside of the door. It doesn't sound like a couple people talking as you kind of listen in to what's happening. It doesn't sound like, maybe a handful of people are talking. It sounds like there's 20 to 30 people outside in the hallway talking. It's a loud discourse. Every time you try and strain to hear what they're talking about, the voices seem strange. It's almost as if the words that they're saying aren't really words. Instead, they're some strange sort of like bauble. Like there's nothing really like of meaning. It doesn't sound like there's structure to what the words are or what the voices are doing. Like even if you're listening to someone speak a foreign language,
Right.
you kind of understand there's a structure to
I
it.
understand. There's a cadence to speech.
Right. That's not happening here. But you can tell that there's multiple voices, 20 to 30 different voices speaking outside of your room. Do you listen in on them for a while, longer than just kind of like the
More than like 30 seconds, no.
I would say like
If I
a little bit of strain would let you know that it seems like every so often you can hear a voice that sounds like it's speaking something that kind of stands out over the rest, and it says, "He's coming, he's coming." But that's it. That's the only words you can understand amongst the midst of the babbling.
well, the hell he is. I walk over to the mirror. I lay it down on its front,
Okay.
and I'll put something heavy over top of the back of it.
Just slide the dresser over to it and just set it down gently. Okay. It makes some sound for a little while after. You're kind of sitting on the edge of the bed, like after all of your work. Sweat kind of on your brow, kind of looking down at it. And
Do I still hear the voices outside?
if you're on the bed, no. If you're near the door, yes.
I'll walk back towards the door.
They still appear to be present.
I'll throw the door open.
Okay.
Ooh.
I need you to make a sanity roll.
You know that mob of people outside? Wah!
34.
Okay. So this is going to be a very... I want you to tell me what you do in response the second you feel like you would respond in character upon seeing what you see. You open the door, and it's pitch black, but it has this strange kind of glow to it, like the starlight in the room, right? That seems to be almost dreamlike. You then see from the ceiling and from the walls, almost dripping like liquid or syrup coming out of a container, this black fluid. And it's coming from the sides as well, until the tips of these globules sprout fingers, and there are dozens of hands descending from the ceiling and coming from the walls.
They're reaching towards me.
They're just coming out of the walls, like forming this kind of blockade in the hallway in front of you. Some of them start kind of getting close enough to you that they start reaching. Yeah.
I'm reasonably sure my voice can carry well enough. I draw steel, and I shout for Malachi.
Okay. The second the steel is freed and you yell Malachi, everything kind of snaps. And you can see the door on the other side kind of open. Malachi opposite of you, kind of looking and go, "Yeah," and his hand is kind of like holding a knife and a pistol, kind of looking at you like, "You okay?" And you can also hear commotion from other rooms as the house begins to stir.
I'm well. Good man. Something doesn't sit right about this town, and I'm gonna blame that Otmar fellow.
Hey,
You did it. Whatever it is, you did it.
Wow, we're so racist.
He's
What
French.
did I? What?
Because he's French?
Yeah.
please. See one horrifying visage, and it's always their fault.
I'm sorry. You're the one that faced the mirrors together
So,
because haha funny science experiment and
I'm
warped
the
us,
second
warped
one
us
to
out
do
of
it.
reality.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
I'm
I
the-
know. You tried to do it to me too.
So,
hilarious.
the hands snap away. Malachi kind of confirms what's going on. Do you ask him to come check the room?
Yeah.
Okay. He looks around the room, and the way you've set up the dresser on top of the mirror is confusing to him. And he says, "How'd you do that so quietly?"
I wasn't quiet about it at all. That thing weighs a quarter ton. I
Didn't,
heaved and hoed, Malachi.
didn't hear a damn thing. In walks Mr. Baird. What's going on? Is everything all right, Mr. Fitzgerald?
I
He's got a little candle, and he's also got he's got the Liberty Cat, like the like the Betty by time.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
Yeah, absolutely.
I must apologize, Mayor Baird. My sensibilities must be leaving me. I was sure I heard an intruder at the window.
Oh,
In my haste to arm myself, I seem to have knocked some furniture around. I don't know if I was in a fit or what it was.
oh, it's. He looks at the situation. It's not a problem. We'll get everything to rights in the morning. You go to sleep, Mr. Fitzgerald, and sorry, I'll go ahead and have my man do a perimeter sweep of the exterior of the house.
Oh, I'm sure it's okay. Do as you wish, but I thank you for humoring me.
Malachi heads to bed. You would kind of if you keep the door open for a little bit, you would see that he talks to his butler. The butler pulls a double barrel shotgun from an umbrella rack, effectively, and takes it outside with a candle as well.
He's coming.
And if you kind of keep up and pay attention, you'll see the candlelight kind of sweep around the house. Seems like they are doing.
I'll sit at an open window and have a cigarette.
Yeah. So you're kind of like leaning out the window. You can see the guy kind of moving around the grounds. Nothing strange or untoward. Um, I would say we're probably on the second floor, right? That's fair to say.
Sure.
And I would say that you're probably looking at the house. You're probably on the eastern wing of the house. And then like your man is kind of at the end of the hall there, and you're kind of like en suites over here, long hall in between, and then
Okay.
this hallway is kind of leading towards like the master bedroom on that side, with the stairs and like the descent down to kind of like the foyer in that present space there. So you're kind of looking out, and you can see he's kind of moving around the grounds. There are some lights still on in Baiko, not a lot, right? Because it's the middle of the night.
Sure.
But there's still some. But what you do notice is as you're kind of sitting there smoking your cigarette, or that you might notice, go ahead and make a spot hidden.
Oh, I'm not great at that. Spot hidden. No.
Okay. Yeah,
No, I don't.
You're very focused and invested on the cigarette. You're also noticing that the sound from the mirror is not happening. It hasn't happened the second people actually started showing up. Very much kind of an annoyance. But if that's it, you head back to bed after the cigarette and everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, night's uneventful beyond that, and in the morning you'll obviously be rested of the dresser on the mirror, and everything will be put to rights. But we'll get there in a bit. Focusing in on Bianca, you sleep soundly. There's no problems for you. You don't have any issues. I mean, unless you think you might have some kind of like disconcerting dreams. I don't know if Bianca's like a normal native dreamer. Okay.
No.
More than fair. And then Raymond, you sleep with your guests in your house. The dream that keeps happening for you, and it's very, very vivid. This will be one that you kind of wake up with and kind of continuously kind of understand as being kind of a flashback. But strangely, like in the dream, it was more real than when you first experienced it. That moment when in your original house, when Otmar and Arthur were present looking over the vanity, and in the mirror you saw you pull your shotgun, walk up behind Arthur, and blow his head off. This moment replays for you in your dream. However, unlike it being some strange kind of look into a mirror space that you had initially, the situations that would happen in a real life experiencing of that, for example, the feel of the kickback of the shotgun against your shoulder, the smell of the gunpowder kind of blasting up into your nose after the discharge of the round into his head, the feeling of the splatter of his, viscera onto your body and
Bro,
clothes,
stop.
and also the smell of it. Everything that's happening there with Arthur's remains. That's all very vivid for you. And you don't know for why. When you wake up, you're very sickened by it, I would think. But how sickened is really just going to be determined by a sanity roll. You're not going to lose any sanity on this. The sanity roll is primarily just to determine whether or not
Critical success.
stone cold motherfucking killer. This guy could kill 20 Arthur Haynes. It wouldn't even be a problem.
Yeah, I dream
Great.
about murdering a different man every night.
Or just
One
the
of these
same one.
days, somebody look in the basement of my barn, please.
He just goes, gunpowder.
It's just Arthur Haynes
That dude
stacked.
has a barn basement. That guy needs to be in jail.
Everybody goes to the barn basement. Get the fuck to jail.
Whatever's down there, you're going to jail.
So for you, it's very vivid, but I think Raymond, because of his attachment to the mirror and seeing these kind of events happen commonly for him, for whatever reason, it doesn't seem to grind into you as much. It's not real. You can tell the difference, that it's not real. It's just whatever this dream situation is. And you don't think it's like... The other thing, too, is most people who have these kind of dreams might think that it's like an intrusive thought, like something that might happen or might be something that you would do. For Raymond, I think there's this very strong disconnect between him and this kind of... these faux realities that keep popping up for him. The only example of it crossing over is the wealth. So, like, there's really no reason for you to...
Never been a downside for him so far. So.
Why would anything be bad?
Like,
For Otmar,
no such thing as negative effects.
For Otmar and Arthur, your sleep is fine. You sleep in separate rooms. You kind of have your, going to bed rituals. I would say that for the two of you, it's very simple, like a simple matter of sleeping, and it almost is a more calming experience than you're used to. Otmar, you've been on a road for quite a bit, so it's definitely a welcome release to be in an actual bed instead of sleeping on a bus or on a bench in a train stop. Arthur, it's not quite as comfortable as your bed back in Arkham, but it's not bad. It is a lot more quiet though. Arkham can get kind of loud even in the night.
Yeah.
But yeah, you rest well, and you all wake up in the morning, having been instructed by Bianca to meet at her house for breakfast. Henry, they will be serving breakfast at your place, and obviously they're taking some time to kind of maneuver the dresser off the mirror. Do you stick around for that to ensure that it's done correctly, or do you just kind of leave at that point and just head over to Bianca's, or do you head downstairs to get breakfast with Mr. Baird?
I made a promise to Bianca I'd be there at 8 o'clock.
So you're not waiting around for the dresser to be removed?
I won't wait around for the dresser.
Okay.
Mirror might be more trouble than it's worth. It's still, mine, but I'm not so worried that it's going to be marred somehow after what I did with it.
Yeah. Or marred any further by their relieving it of the dresser on its back. Okay. Sure. Then for Arthur and Otmar and Raymond, you guys awake in the morning, probably not grabbing anything too sturdy for breakfast. Maybe a quick, snack.
Well, we heard that Bianca was going to make breakfast for us, right?
Right, but it's a bit of a drive. So, like,
Sure.
If Raymond's offering, there might be something kind of light snacky, like an apple or something.
I don't think Raymond knows what he has to offer yet.
Yeah, so he's probably
going in the kitchen, grab something.
He's going through it with you. And you would also see, Raymond, as you kind of pop out onto the grounds, there are people who are working out at the farm. And you don't know them, but they look like they know what they're doing. And it doesn't look like they're, fucking around or trying to steal from you or anything. It looks like they're genuinely engaging in the work that you would normally engage in on a smaller farm, but in a more big fashion. There's probably a half dozen or so that you see kind of active at this point.
Heck yeah.
Good work. Give him a point. pop into your Model T. So you would also note that there are a couple of different vehicles available out in the yard as well, and the keys appear to be inside the house on a rack, like right near the door. Nothing terribly fancy, but there's definitely a better vehicle for you to drive than the large Model T converted into kind of a truck deal.
Heck yeah, I'll jump in one of them.
All right. And you folks head into town. Henry, you're there first. Bianca, you receive him at the house. Some of the girls are present in the house, seeing their Johns out. Some of the girls are coming in after spending time at the rooming house, getting ready to kind of get to breakfast. A couple of the girls are more than happy to help you with your processing, like the cooking in the morning. But if you don't want their help, you don't have to take it.
No, they would be doing it. The girls that did not have work last night would be the ones cooking, and they would be getting it ready for everyone else. So they would come to a community table. Everyone else would work. It's a machine.
We love it.
Iron
Jody,
Fist
how much
Bianca.
time have you put into this?
I like
Hello?
this character.
I really like this character.
I'm glad I like her too.
She's a badass. I like her a lot too. You receive Henry first and Malachi sitting at the table.
Yep, they're brought in. The girls are chosen at the table. When they were given, once everyone gets here, all of them have seats, but they displace some of the girls, and the girls are standing at the counter eating while they get to sit down and eat
Gotcha.
grits and cheese and some sliced fruit on the table.
Very good. I don't know if Henry's a grits guy.
When in Rome.
Grits and cheese, though. That sounds good as hell. Okay. And then Arthur, Otmar, and Raymond arrive. 2 separate cars parked outside.
Yep.
You head on in.
Mhm.
Same service.
I would. Did I know all the stuff that they were talking about last night at the bar?
Like,
Like the riot where they came in and they rioted and things like that. And
before your time.
that known.
Before your time. Because you've been in town for like a decade at most, right?
Yeah,
Less
it's
than.
not.
Yeah, you haven't been in.
Yeah, this was about 13, 14 years ago.
Yeah, this would have been
The
before your
raid.
time.
So it would have been right
And nobody would have cared
close
to
to
mention
when
it.
I got there.
It would have been after, yeah.
I
Or
would
before.
share that-
You'd arrived after is what I meant.
I would have shared that with the group and let them know what we found out from the town, and that the pastor has a group. I'd let them know about the Logan and basically let them in while they're eating.
Thomas Logan, yep. Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to put to the table?
How was the
Raymond
new
would definitely
house?
tell people about his nuke. It was great, actually. It was pretty great. Except for I'd looked at Albert, like, you remember when we saw Henry die in my old house in the mirror?
Arthur.
Or no, Arthur. Sorry, my bad.
Wrong.
Arthur died in my old house.
Wrong way,
Yeah.
buddy.
I didn't know about this, but okay.
Yeah, that I kept dreaming about that last night, which is pretty weird. Except it felt real.
Arthur would look at him like that super concerned
Like it
face.
felt like I was actually there doing it.
He says that and then just shovels like grits and cheese into his mouth.
Yeah.
Keeps eating.
It's no big deal,
No
right?
issue.
Arthur would like inch away from Raymond on the bench or something.
I must have dream murdered him at least 3 dozen times. Like,
Yeah, it was crazy.
this kept happening.
It was just on repeat. I don't know. I would say, well, you don't find it too concerning at the moment, and we've already been through it. And hearing Bianca's outburst of "I didn't know that," be like that was right before you showed up.
Yep.
And we felt once you showed up that the Adam situation took precedent over basically something that didn't actually happen.
Yeah, you know, everybody has that. What do they call it? Deja vu.
Yeah, that's what the French call it.
Nice, Fred.
That's what the French.
Yeah, Amar would cringe at that saying and say, "Yes, that's basically what it is."
I got a new car, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw that or not. There was like a couple at the house.
Raymond, I know you don't seem to be too. I know seem very happy with your change in circumstances, but I, I really do think that this is a concerning thing that's happening. I think you might want to
Be a
maybe
professional.
maybe approach this with a little bit more sense of seriousness and even danger.
Well, you
Yeah,
you all
someone protect him from all the money.
yeah, you guys seem to know a little more about this than we do. What's our next steps? How do we get this fixed?
So would everybody have like filled everybody in on all the happenings, right? Like from the conversation about the church, and the snake symbols, and the thing about Gabriel being kind of the heretic, that would all be like really serious stuff to hear,
Yeah,
starting to
especially
put
with
some pieces,
the books we found and everything.
right?
Oh yeah, I own a library now, Bianca. That's cool, right?
He can't read, but he does own a library.
You don't need to be able to read to own the books.
As he's talking, two of the girls would be kind of cozying up to him, and Bianca would snap at him, and they'd like, "Not now," kind of thing, and they'd back off.
There's business and there's business.
There's business and then there's business.
I love this new life.
14 times you say.
14 times.
God damn, I'm looking forward to next month.
Your old experience with this guy experiences every time.
You say you have 9 other girls?
That's at least a new one every day.
Raymond, you fucking dog. I love it though. Okay, so sorry. Does anybody have an idea of whether or not we're staying in Baiko? And if we are staying in Baiko, what the goal in Baiko is?
I mean, you haven't actually checked the church out, right?
Yeah, we can do that. We can do that. Actually, we can close out on that. That's actually not bad. But
So Arthur would just say to Otmar, snakes, Adam.
Yeah, I see where this is all heading. Gabriel, depictions of angels. It's not. Yeah, I feel like our first order of business in the day should be the church.
So if that's the case, I just want to check too, just so we're lead up. There's no other like things in Baiko we're terribly interested in, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
I'll probably ask Arthur to inspect the mirror before we leave Baiko.
We'll do that at the beginning of next session. That's actually perfect.
If you'd rather do it before or after
that one's going to take a
church.
beat. So definitely at the end or the beginning of next session. The church is going to be easy. This is simple, easy peasy. Because like I said, I didn't have notes on it. It's not terribly important. There is one specific factor around the church that's important though, and it's a good closer. So you go over to the burnt church. It's just off the east road. A lot of the area around the church in particular is high grass. It looks like it hasn't been kept very well, but it does look like there's a specific perimeter around it that has been well kept. Like they've been, mowing the lawn, so to speak, and keeping tended around it, but they kind of left an amount of ground around the church proper, kind of just disheveled, unconcerned. There are signs that say no trespassing, but you kind of can maneuver around the church enough to be able to see into the church without actually having to step onto the grounds. And what you're able to very quickly realize is that the only things that seem to remain of the kind of structure, other than like a bit of a kind of framing of the exterior stone wall, is a segment of roof that has the steeple upon it. And at the top of the steeple, instead of just the stereotypical cross that you would expect to see on a normal run-of-the-mill church, you have a bear with me here. You have a straight spire of metal, and at the top of it is the kind of Presbyterian cross shape, which I will post in the chat. Made out of metal, so you would presume at its height, It does look like it has suffered some damage from fire, past, present. So it's that interior shape, right? And at the top of it, the kind of bird-like shape that kind of is at the top of it seems to have been wire framed to kind of form that shape. There doesn't appear to be any snake iconography or anything to that effect. It's just the church, two flames off to the side of it, and kind of the top portion of the cross is kind of a dove-like matter. It does look like there is a lot of the interior space that looks like it might have been woodwork, but it is completely gone. Everything that might have been interesting or important to you, burned, gone. You do a perimeter sweep, nothing terribly interesting about the church. You kind of move into the grounds with Raymond kind of, going, oh, I'll stop by and see the dad, right? Simple tombstone, nothing, crazy there. And not too far from there, but not like in a similar plot. There's like not a familial plot or anything. But not too far from there is a mausoleum. And it appears to be a very large stone structure. But it looks like it had pieces that were on it that have been broken off, knocked off by exterior parties. Not by time. It looks like there was an actual defilement to the mausoleum. And when you check over to see it, this crypt, it looks like its namesake was Gabriel Revels. And it says that he passed, at least so to speak, here in 1915. And the thing about it that we're just going to close on, you can kind of explore that if you want next session, but Gabriel, so far as you say, Raymond, there was never a funerary service. Gabriel just disappeared. He was presumed dead.
Yes.
So, that said, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. Thanks for watching those that did. If you are watching, stick around for about 5 or so minutes. We'll be switching gears and we'll be kind of moving over to Cult, Divinity Lost, being run by our friendly neighborhood Jijo. And some of the people watching are probably playing. So cool. We'll see you in a bit. And you folks, if you have any questions or anything, just pen them. We'll do them next session. Thanks for watching.